Hey, a DeLorean, the big question is, what happens when you hit 88? Come on. Almost there. Oh. Now that's just disappointing. A little extra programming could have gone so far. Well, this is part 2 of the Gran Turismo PSP review. We'll take a more detailed look at some of the courses here. But before I do, there's been something bouncing around in my head. You know how they have games like Marvel vs. Capcom and Capcom vs. SNK combining two franchises? Gran Turismo versus Mario Kart, giving you the ability to drive over Yoshi with a Range Rover. I would buy that. On the other hand, you could also push Pontiacs into lakes of fire and crush them with giant mushrooms. That would also be cool. What we're driving on here together is Apricot Hill, or Apricot Hill, depending on how you pronounce it. Many of the old school Gran Turismo courses are in this game: Deep Forest, Trial Mountain, Gran Valley. There's a couple notable omissions, Grindelwald and Red Rock being two of my favorites from Gran Turismo 2. The newer version of the high-speed ring is in here. The that really long one I can't pronounce, that's in the game. Basically, there's a ton of courses, and they're all extremely well rendered. And this is the list that we're looking at here. Many of them can be driven forwards and in reverse. Not that you drive backwards with your car, but that you can drive the course in reverse. Some of them you can't, like Laguna Seca. Others, like Deep Forest, you should be familiar driving in both directions. As you unlock the different difficulty levels, they will appear here in the menu. Some of them I have unlocked all the way down to level S, others I've barely touched yet. They've packed this game with an extremely impressive array of tracks. They're not nearly as good looking as they are in Gran Turismo 4 or GT5, but they look great. As I said in part 1, it's somewhere between Gran Turismo 2 and Gran Turismo 4 in terms of visual quality. What's important is that they're smooth and pretty much the same tracks that you remember from the other games. Others you may not be so familiar with. This is one of my favorite tracks, probably another one I can't pronounce correctly. I'll just call it SETI Alpha 5. If you played the earlier games and you ever drove any of the endurance races, it's like that track stays with you forever after driving it 200 laps. This is the legendary Deep Forest. And as far as I can tell, when you start a race, when you enter a race, they pair you up against comparable vehicles. So you're not going to find yourself driving a Mini against a whole flock of F1 cars. El Capitan, another one of my favorites from Gran Turismo 4. When you play these on the PSP screen, they look awesome. But as I said in part 1, sometimes it does seem like the screen is just too small for the amount of detail, because those signs, the braking signs that give you the amount of distance between you and the turn, are extremely challenging to see when you're going 190 miles an hour. I played this on a television, and it looks good. It's not as good as Gran Turismo 4 in HD, or even Gran Turismo 3. It's a little rough around the edges in places if you're familiar with the tracks and know what to look for. But overall, they've done an awesome job, considering how many tracks they've packed into a portable game. That was a friendly tap, reminding him to get out of my way. Many of the off-road courses are in Gran Turismo PSP. Tahiti Maze, for instance. The ice track, I've always been terrible at the off-road courses, but they're a lot of fun to take Nissan Skylines and Imprezas and drive sideways. In fact, there's a whole drifting mode in the game that I really don't care about because I don't care about drifting, but maybe somebody does. So now you know. You can also drive for time trials. The Gran Turismo series has a lot more competitors now than it used to. Back in the late 90s, it was the driving game to get. Now there's some excellent alternatives like the Forza series, Dirt and Grid and whatnot, but Gran Turismo does have a certain charm of its own. I strongly disagree with their decision not to have a Gran Turismo ready for the PlayStation 3 launch. I think that was an enormous mistake. They could have just repackaged Gran Turismo 4 and I'd have been happy. Put like 2 more tracks in it. Add some G.I. Joe vehicles. Like, that's all it would have taken. Even though it's taken a while, I am very pleased with Gran Turismo PSP. And even though you can't crumple your cars into little balls when you smash things at 200 miles an hour, the detail that you'd expect in the handling of the cars, in the variety of cars, and in the tracks, the quality of the tracks in the game, makes Gran Turismo PSP a must-have for driving fans with PSPs. In the real world, you couldn't actually own all these cars unless you owned an oil conglomerate, and driving like this eventually will get you killed. But here in Gran Turismo world, it's all in good fun. And damn, this game is fun, so I do highly recommend Gran Turismo PSP as a longtime Gran Turismo fan.
Ready?